Hello there everybody, AnxiousCynic back again, joined by Bean Dream for another wallpaper competition review and showcase. The theme, multi-dimensional. Alright Bean, take us away.
First up we have one by Win.
Yeah, I feel like the Minecraft rendering on this one is not doing it justice.
I honestly didn't notice until now. There's like tiny pictures in it.
Yeah, it's got like little screenshots in it. Like little photographs.
Just
Oh, that looks horrible now.
cool.
Zoomed in on it.
Seems like there's kind of a split between kind of the overworld in the top left, the end in the bottom, and the nether on the top right. That's what I'm gathering from this.
Yeah, it's almost like the two dimensions are interacting.
Yeah, it's a little bit chaotic.
Yeah, this one's like a treasure trove.
The more I look at it, the more I find, which is interesting. Next up, we have one by Arven.
I'm gonna say Raven.
Raven. That makes more sense, I'll be honest.
One thing I'll say about this one, despite the Minecraft rendering, the poses are really good. This really looks like a picture that was taken of a scene in motion.
That's true. Everything feels organic. Do like the gold falling out of the chest. Nice little touch there.
The effect of the other dimension showing through the portal instead of it just being like the normal nether portal texture is also like top notch.
Although I'm not sure if the perspective in there is correct. It's close enough, but it does look a little off. Or maybe I'm just dumb.
I like the idea that it's not completely lined up because it gives it that more of like an other dimension rather than like you're just looking through a frame.
True.
Kind of seems like, you know, they're coming from another dimension and it's a bit, you know, off kilter.
The lighting in the scene is honestly pretty good, although it does make it feel less of a darker scene, even though it looks like he's getting stabbed and everything.
Yeah, that is one thing I would point out is the lighting, from what I can tell, and the character on the ground's eyes being open. It gives it a rather odd juxtaposition tonally. It seems kind of like happy lighting and character with the big eyes and they're open. And it appears that the pigman guys have murdered him. Coming out with their loot or taking their loot back or something. And so it's got this kind of weird kind of mix of tones.
Next up we have one by BluefinDude.
I can't help but notice you put an exclamation point on the "it's."
Hey, that's the way it's in Discord. That's the way it's gonna be in here.
I thought it was you being professional.
Nope.
So this image was a bit questionable, you would say?
The theme is multi-dimensional, not just like another dimension. However, it does kind of feel like a different dimension without the floaty light things.
Yeah, this one kind of leaves a little bit of like to interpretation, I guess. Where you have to say, okay, is this like one dimension and these orbs are from another dimension? It doesn't really tell you any of that. It just kind of puts it there and you have to pretty much fill in the blanks yourself. So that's what made it kind of, does this fit the theme or not? But I'm assuming the theme being what it is, that was the idea.
To be fair, it was a pretty difficult theme to go around.
True. So unfortunately, I can't really tell a whole lot looking at Minecraft here. It seems like the lighting is a bit flat to me.
The lighting in the front here with the grass is okay, but back in the trees, it doesn't get much darker. There's not like enough shadow, so it is a little flat.
I feel like with this one, with the orbs, there should probably be very little ambient light, and most of the light source would be coming from the orbs themselves.
Next up we have AlNightmare A.
AlNightmare A.
Another one where it's kind of split into 3 different sections. We got the nether, we got the overworld outside, and then I guess this is down in the caves.
Yeah, I would say that the way the splitting of each scene is done is pretty interesting. It's not just straight lines everywhere. This one, it fits the theme because there is like the nether dimension and the overworld dimension, but the split scene for the overworld dimension kind of doesn't make sense to me. It's 2 panels that are basically the same dimension, just 2 different places in that dimension.
I feel like there's a kind of a difference. Well, it would be better with the end, just to match the theme.
There's a lot more going on in the nether scene than in the other 2.
Yeah, everything just looks different in the nether, which I guess makes sense, but It it definitely is lacking in the cave one. Everything's just kind of dark and you don't really notice it.
Yeah, I think this one, if you had made that third panel down there more like something else, like the end or whatever, it would have helped a lot, because as it is, it kind of looks like two scenes from the overworld and a random nether picture slapped onto it.
I do really like the nether one though. Next up we have one by
StationMagic.
This one is it's a portal.
You could say this is lazy, and maybe it was, but I do think it's interesting in that the portal is such a focus, like a subject of the picture, and I think maybe it's kind of the composition of the camera and everything. It does kind of stand out and look interesting to me for some reason. It's like a very vague interpretation of the theme. It's like a mysterious, if you didn't know Minecraft was what it was, and that's what a nether portal is, you'd be like, oh, what is this mysterious portal that goes somewhere?
Yeah, I think though what would have helped with that is to have like one of the other ones, the nether showing through the portal.
Yeah, that definitely would have boosted it a bit and definitely helped it kind of comply with the theme better.
I do like the lighting on the tree. It's honestly more noticeable in the Minecraft one versus the actual render, but there's just weird purple around the portal though, which is a little odd. I'm assuming it was intentional because I don't know how you would get that in otherwise. And the lines from the light over here are a little harsh, but I do like the lighting in general of the scene. The composition also is pretty good. I just would have put the nether throwing through the portal and some of the purple lighting. Next time we have one by Taki.
I like the top right panel with the ender dragons being so out of focus. Gives it a much more ominous look.
It does look like all the images were kind of just slapped on top of each other rather than actually cropped out to be the same size. I feel like it would be okay, but the top left one overlaps with the top right, where I feel like that should be cut directly on.
I think that having this one be a bit more stylistically incorporated or turned into a collage rather than them being kind of mismatched, whatever you say, mixed and matched over each other, it looks a bit sloppy and kind of like you just made several different images and tossed them on the table instead of making it more of a presentation.
We have one from the nether, which I kind of actually like how dark it is. That's kind of how I always imagine the nether looking.
The main issue I see with the one in the nether is the smoke particle effect on the torch. By default in Minimator, the scale of that is just a bit too big, so I would have scaled it down a tad so it's not such a intrusive effect on the overall image.
I'm assuming you removed the background, which is like the actual flatlands grass, but you gotta put like just a little bit in the background just to hide the horizon. This one is by the self-proclaimed Blender hater.
Yeah, that guy, every time he's like, for no reason in Discord, he just brings up how much he hates Blender.
We love Blender around here. I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, it's so weird.
This one, I only realized it now, but it looks, well, maybe that's not even accurate, but I guess that the border is like a pumpkin on your head or something.
That's what I was wondering about the lines in it and stuff. It's a bit intrusive. Too much is covered up or something, and I'm assuming, it was being used to separate the images in an artistic way, but I feel like it's just too intrusive.
Like it covers up his face here, and it would feel better if it was like in the background, but it's like just plastered on top, which is where it gets a little messy. I do like the fire just raging in the background in the nether one.
Yeah, I agree. That really stands out. I think that's probably my favorite panel out of this. That one on the left there. Wither skeletons and blazes are kind of cool in my opinion anyway. And then having the flame back there.
The end one, not much is happening. There's really not any lighting going on.
Yeah, that one was a bit phoned in. It's like oh, Enderman, Ender Dragon, that's the end.
I think the middle one would actually look pretty good, but the black overlay again just kind of hides too much.
Yeah, that's the main thing. Like the black smear going through the middle between them, it really kind of just creates a dysfunction, for lack of a better word, in the image. Like it separates them too much when that should have been the core panel in the middle that kind of draws your eye in.
We have one by zestycoronet.
Now the first issue I notice here is there's a bit of a Minomator watermark poking through the bottom right of the top panel.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
So that makes me wonder, was this done in this way to hide the watermark, or was this an artistic choice? Because you can turn the watermark off. You don't have to hide it.
First thing that I noticed is that there's basically just one scene lighting, and there isn't actual, there's hardly any shadows anywhere.
Yeah, I'd be interested in hearing like what was done here, because to me, like on first glance, it looks like either cast shadows was turned off, or like brightness for the scenery object was turned all the way up so that there's no shadows. That's pretty much the extent of my critique of this one, though, is that the lighting is very flat, and the weird cropping and the watermark makes it like, I thought it was intentional as like a way to present the image at first, but now I'm wondering if it was just kind of art through adversity. But the lighting is just very flat in the image. Like the contents of the image, the scenes, the things that are happening in the scene, they don't really convey anything to me. It looks kind of random.
And the cropping just kind of cuts off the action that's happening in the nether there.
The composition of that shot, like the one in the middle there, the Enderman is really tall, and the characters, like the human characters, are at the bottom. So like you're trying to encompass all that with this really wide aspect ratio. So the camera needs to be moved, characters need to be moved, something needs to happen to compress all of that into the frame that you're trying to create.
Yeah. I would have just cut out the Enderman from that one, because you have Enderman in the bottom one.
Yeah, the Enderman is a redundancy, so he could be gotten rid of.
We have one by mubloom.
So I'm trying to understand this one. The portal doesn't go all the way down to the bottom of the image. So it's a split screen. And I like at first impression, I was like, oh, this is split by the portal. Like on the left side, you see the overworld. On the right side, you see like where the portal leads to. But it actually is just in the scene. Like the portal does not go all the way down to the bottom. Splitting the scenes, it's just kind of artificially split.
Yeah, and you really can't tell it here, but the portal in the nether goes down an extra pixel. For some reason.
So actually,
I don't know,
would have been easier to do what I was saying.
Yeah, just to make the portal go the whole way, and it would kind of separate the two. The other thing is just this glow on the nether portal is only in the nether and not in the overworld.
I would say both scenes feel kind of empty as well. Like the overworld one, you could have it be just what it is. But in the nether one, I feel like, there's this idea that I'm getting from the image. This like, hey, this is this epic place where the portal goes, that this is where he could be heading to. So having mobs or something that kind of aggrandizes that dimension would have sold this effect better.
You can tell it's the same in the same world, because the background lighting is exactly the same in the nether and in the overworld.
Yeah, the scenery for the nether was cut off so that you get the sky in the background. That's definitely an element that takes you out of the scene here.
Next, we have one by Awkward Bunion. This one's just crazy. I don't know what's going on with the sky. I don't know how you even did that.
I like the look of this one. It's a bit overpowering, especially on the characters. I feel like it would be more interesting if the environment had the stronger effect and the characters had a little bit more like a retaining of their more natural look, with just this kind of being a highlight around their original textures or something.
It's definitely hard to look at, and doesn't really have a centerpiece that you can just kind of focus on. I really like this lantern down here. It just looks so cool.
Yeah, the lantern looks badass. Like that's something, the effect worked really well. Like that's probably the best outcome of the effect is on the lantern.
It's another dimension, but doesn't really the multi-dimension element, but well, still cool.
If you had the characters retaining a bit more of their original textures, and it kind of shows them being an element of the normal Minecraft dimension, and they're inhabiting this space that's more crazy and psychedelic looking, it would have helped sell the overall effect of the image, and it would have helped, I think, comply with the theme better.
We have one by blingplays. So it's got a lot of chromatic aberration, however it's
Chromatic
especially on the nether one,
aberration.
which I'm going to be honest, I love using, but anyway.
This one definitely does what my critique was of a few of the previous ones, which is each panel has a lot going on to represent the dimension that it's supposed to be portraying. One of the things I would say, like, this could be a happy accident, but it sticks out to me as compositional knowledge or skill, a little bit of artistic skill or talent or experience, in that it's not presented linearly, where, you know, the overworld image is in the middle. It takes the focus, and then the peripheral dimensions, the end and the nether, are in the corners.
However, with the middle being the focus, there should definitely be some brighter lights in there. It kind of feels dark.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Lighting on like the one side of the skeleton and the zombie, just to bring out the elements that are happening in there.
I like this one in terms of like how it's presented. The fact that each panel does a lot, at least with characters and mobs, to illustrate where it's supposed to be based in and what the characters that exist there are kind of all about.
Next up, we have one by brickabang.
So right out of the gate here, I would say thus far to me, this one kind of inhabits the theme the best.
Yeah, it definitely all in one image gets the multi-dimensional theme, like fits it all in one image without having to separate everything.
Yes, it's all represented here. I like the idea that it's mirrors, so it's not the traditional, like, oh, he's looking into a portal of some kind. It's like he's looking at a reflection of himself that is actually in itself a portal to another dimension that he exists in. It's a very cool concept, and I think it does the best so far to succinctly capture all of that into one image. Like, he doesn't even have to use multiple panel images or anything. It's all one image, all being captured in one shot. That's really cool the way he did this one.
The biggest thing that I noticed first is the shirt. It has weird artifacts on it. The other thing, it appears that you used a pen tool of some sort to trace that around these to give them a lower saturation and lighter, because they're not straight lines for the mirror.
Oh, nice catch.
And they overlap here on the cobblestone.
Well, disqualified.
This one is by drheck.
This was the most questionable one to me as far as what made it into the comp here, in that it doesn't really portray multi-dimensions at all, other than the fact that the character is in a different dimension than the overworld.
Yeah, it was hardly fitting the theme, but once again, difficult theme, so it's
far as this
still better
take
than
on
just
it,
having the overworld.
True, but as far as this take on it, I think what I would do if you wanted to make it more simple, take characters that are known for their particular dimension and then mix them into one. So like if you're going to go with the nether, then maybe you have the human character, and instead of fighting a wither skeleton, he's fighting the ender dragon. So something that kind of indicates a mingling of dimensions rather than what you already know in the game, which is you can go to the nether and fight wither skeletons.
In regards to the scene itself, there should definitely be more like lighting on the wither skeleton, and the player more harsher, brighter lights just to show that their face is better. But in the background, I do like that there's actually a light shining from the hallway back there.
Yeah, the lighting for the hallway is probably the highlight of the image, in that it gives depth and kind of almost like a bit of a mystery. It's like, oh, what's down there?
Yeah, it's like I just want to see what's around the corner now.
The character's pose is kind of rough, like his arm bent back the way that it is. So it looks very uncomfortable.
Broke all his bones.
All right, we're gonna do the third place, second place, first place again.
Sounds fair. For the winner, I have decided on brickabang.
Dun dun dun.
Second place, I have decided on Raven 119.
RV Raven Arvin 119.
And in third place, it's a split between Win, which
Tying
Didn't
for third.
exactly win. And blingplays.
Blingplays and win, tying for third place.
Alright, so the winner will get a Discord role on the Discord for winning. And your brickabang gets to choose the next theme.
I'm gonna have to change his role from not the winner. Damn it.
Oh, sad day.
I'm just gonna kick him from the server.
Once again, if you want to participate, there will hopefully be a Discord link in the description. If it's not, you can yell at Cynic.
Yes, there'll be a Discord link in the description of this video. There's a Discord link in the About page of the channel. If you can't figure out how to join and how to submit, that's on you at this point. I've done all I can do unless you pay me.
Time to make a tutorial on how to join your Discord server.